Welcome back to Merritt's Mill Pond, Gator Hole Part 2. We're also going to go into Hole in the Rock, also known as Hole in the Wall. This time on my return to Gator Hole, I'm going to have my oldest son with me. If you haven't had a chance to check out Part 1, I'll put the link in the description below. So the last time I came here, I forgot my dive mask. I didn't have adequate lights. This time we're a little better equipped. The original plan was to paddle to Gator Hole first, but there were some kayakers loitering outside the cave, so we decided to paddle to Hole in the Rock first. Like Part 1, I'm going to come in the back way just because it's more fun. However, I had to pay for the fun paddling through this grass. As I mentioned in Part 1, they have a dive platform conveniently located right next to the spring. In November on the pond, you can start seeing some fall colors. Hole in the Rock, also known as Hole in the Wall, is listed as a 4th magnitude spring. It doesn't have a lot of flow, but it has an extensive cave system. My son's launch into the water wasn't very graceful. If you saw Part 1, first time I came here, I did not have a mask. I wasn't able to see anything with my own eyes. It's pretty cool to come back and see it. Cave divers have reported if you get past that restriction, it opens up into a 50-foot cylinder deeper inside. As you can see, with the lack of flow and all the vegetation, you can easily get silted out here. So we're going to do a little amphibious beach landing and go check out the little cave up top. As you might have saw in Part 1, this cave doesn't go very deep. My son and I had a good time checking out Hole in the Rock. Overall, it's a pretty cool spot. Back to Gator Hole. Last time I came here, I forgot my mask. I didn't make that mistake this time. We also brought more lights. After a short swim, we arrive at what I call the main intersection of Gator Hole. As I'm adjusting my gear to go deeper in the cave, we hear the sound of bats.
Yeah. Right there. He flew away. Flew into that part of the cave.
In a cave, you can never have enough lights. The rule of thumb is to have at least 3 lights. My son and I brought a little boogie board with some extra gear and lights, and I left him at the main corridor to swim deeper into the cave. Here you see a guideline for one of the cave diving tunnels. I don't claim to be a cave diver or even a free diver. This is more like cave snorkeling. However, I am an explorer, and this is a really cool place to explore. During this particular time of year, we had low water levels, which allowed one to get very deep into Gator Hole. Normally the water's deeper and you're not able to get in there without cave diving equipment and experience. On this visit there was a series of air pockets at the top, so I was able to get pretty deep. Sometimes in these caves you'll find catfish. This one still has its pigmentation, so it either came from the outside or it hasn't been in there for very many generations. Over time, cave-dwelling species tend to lose their pigmentation and become albino or translucent. In many wet caves across the world, you'll find these ridges toward the top of the cave from erosion, usually indicating that the cave had portions of it that were dry for long periods of time. In a flooded cave or spring like this that has very little water flow, it's important to move very slowly and methodical, utilizing a frog kick method. This prevents the sediment from being stirred up and causing a silting out effect, which affects your visuals for coming back. I don't claim to be an expert, but on the way back you'll see I did pretty decent. There are some old engravings in here. One is even dated in the 1800s. I will admit it's slightly unnerving to swim into a deep dark cave called Gator Hole. At one time some years back there was a 9-foot alligator in this cave, according to a park ranger I spoke to at Mariana Caverns State Park nearby. Maybe that's why it got its name.
I'm okay. Deep in here. There's a lot of legs.
After exploring this tunnel pretty deep and checking in with my dive buddy, my son, it was time to head back. This is just one of many tunnels in this extensive cave system. Most of the tunnels are completely submerged and you need dive equipment to access them. You can see some clouds of silt that I stirred up. They do not settle quickly in Gator Hole. There's hardly any flow. Here on the guideline you'll notice some line markers or cookies. These are placed usually to indicate the direction of the exit or an equidistant point in the cave route. And I finally make it back to the main intersection where my son awaits. Just below him you'll notice there's many different tunnels that you can explore if you have cave diving equipment or a very good free diver.
Hey, pop up. Here you go. Don't shine the light on the camera.
The battery dead on one camera, we had it switched to a wider angle camera. But it gives you a better perception of the cave. Well, my son and I have to get out of here and go pick up little brother. I hope you really enjoyed season 1 of our Eco series. We have season 2 coming soon, so please subscribe and check it out. We have a lot more interesting places to check out.